they had masks and goggles.
In the 1950s and 60s, in secret, the U.S. Army sprayed zinc cadmium sulfide into the air of a St. Louis housing project, a largely black neighborhood called Pruitt-Igoe.
It was a lose-lose situation for us in Pruitt-Igoe. We were subjects.
Potential warfare against the Soviets.
Many of us been in the military and had top secret clearances. We know how it works.
We have died for America. We have fought for America.
You are a veteran.
I am United States Air Force veteran.
Dr. Starks, you're a veteran as well,
Yes, I am. I'm an Air Force veteran also.
Is there a sense of betrayal here?
Definitely, definitely.
They want to know if those secret tests have anything to do with what they're observing with their own eyes.
I lost my two older siblings to cancer. I lost a brother last month.
I've been diagnosed recently with a rare form of lymphoma.
I had cancer of the left kidney, had partial removal of my left kidney.
News Nation reached out to the Army for answers. They provided a one-page response. It says the Army's own Center for Health Promotion and Preventive Medicine investigated in 1994 and found inhalation exposure would not pose a health risk. They also cite later corroborating reviews, including a 1997 review by the National Research Council. Perhaps they assumed we wouldn't read the NRC's 380-page report, but we did, and the Army's statement doesn't show the full picture. In that 1997 review, the National Research Council explicitly says repeated exposure to zinc cadmium sulfide can cause kidney or bone toxicity or lung cancer if levels are high enough. And they admitted they couldn't fully assess the risk. Why? Because some Army records remain classified, it says, for national security reasons. More troubling, key Army exposure records were missing, and when the NRC asked the Army to supply them, the Army said it couldn't find them. Finally, the NRC considered conducting its own study, but concluded it wasn't feasible. In short, it did not test the site, collect samples, or test residents, and they didn't have access to all the data. Their review was based on what the Army gave them, and what the Army either could not find or withheld. The Army ends its statement to News Nation by saying, quote, none of the reports contained evidence of a radioactive component to the zinc cadmium sulfide dispersion tests. Residents say the secrecy and delays are no accident.
They're waiting us out.
They're waiting on all of us to die.
St. Louis was their chosen city. That was their analog city to Moscow. And they wanted to do this in 1953. They showed up in 1953 in St. Louis.
But there's one document Dr. Martino Taylor has never been able to unearth. It's still classified. The Joint Quarterly Reports detail the spraying experiments, all written by Layton himself. The last one is missing. It's called Joint Quarterly Report 5, and we tried to get it. Our team filed a Freedom of Information Act request on May 5th of 2025. By law, the government must respond to a FOIA within 20 working days. But it's been more than 3 months with multiple follow-ups. Nothing. The silence is what's called a constructive denial.
It can happen to you. Don't get duped that it can't happen to you. We didn't think it was going to happen to us. We was babies, kids. It can happen to you, too.
Representative Bell is now fighting to get Pruitt-Igoe included in the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. That would provide payouts to Americans who can prove they were exposed to radiation during the Cold War. But for Pruitt-Igoe residents, there's a catch. Because key records remain classified, they haven't been able to prove what they were exposed to.
What do you want everyone to know about what happened here?
The truth. Whatever the truth is, we want to know the truth. I don't think we're getting it now.
In the meantime, residents say all they can do is wait, hoping someone finally listens.
When will you give up this fight?
Never. Till I'm cold and dead and buried in my grave.
And Elizabeth, we asked the Army point blank, was there a radioactive component to that spray? It's interesting that they didn't just say no. Rather, they said, quote, none of the reports contained evidence of a radioactive component, pointing us to reports like a review by the National Research Council. But Elizabeth, a close read of that report shows even the NRC admitted they could not fully assess the risk of the spraying, because when they asked the Army for key records, the Army replied the documents were either classified or they were missing. The Army could not find them.
And Elizabeth, I have to tell you, these residents feel the government is waiting them out. The people you just heard from last night and tonight are the ones who are still here, who are well enough to speak. One woman we were supposed to meet with died before we could get to her. She was suffering from multiple cancers. Her daughter asked us to keep going, and we will keep pushing for information, including those classified documents.